Me so high, you get me so high.
Hey guys, what is up? It's your boy Moodzy back at it with another video, and this time I'm going to be giving my own thoughts on the newest information we've got, which honestly I'm not really a big fan of. Now before I start, I must warn you that there will be spoilers, so if you have not watched the newest episode of Dragon Ball Super 55, then I suggest that you watch that before continuing this video.
神が死ねば破壊神も死んでしまうのです。
本当かそれ。
Oh my god!
本当か？いや待てよ。それじゃ面白くもなんともねえな。
Son of a bitch!
Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the God of Destruction and the Supreme Kai connection. It appears that both manga chapter 15 and DBS episode 55 have made a very interesting retcon in the series. It appears that the Kaioshin, aka Supreme Kai, and Beerus are now a set, both God of Destruction and God of Creation. If one of them dies, then the other will perish. Makes sense, right? Well, not really, because upon Whis telling us this killer information, he neglects completely to mention the other Supreme Kais, because as we know, there are 5 Supreme Kais in total, or at least there was. Of course, before this freak of nature slaughters most of them. Now, this is not necessarily a plot hole. In fact, none of this is actually a plot hole, because it could either mean that there were 5 gods of destruction, each one of them is assigned to a part of the universe, or the more likely reason, it's that since Beerus is so immensely powerful that he had to be linked to 5 different Supreme Kais in order to create a balance, which makes more sense than having 5 gods of destruction. I'm also going to ignore the fact that Supreme Kai fusing with Computer Kai did not result in Beerus dying, because when Kame fused with Piccolo, the Dragon Balls turned to stone, but obviously this is different. So you might be wondering right now, what's the issue? Since I basically said there is no plot hole here, and all this could potentially make sense, what is my problem with this? Well, the issue, guys, is that I personally hate this piece of information, and it has little to do with it making sense and has more to do with it just being plain unnecessary. Now listen, I am by no means blaming Toriyama's forgetful nature. In fact, I love Toriyama and everything he brought to the series throughout the years. However, I blame Toei's staff and the people that work with him, because I feel that telling us that information hurts the original story. Why does it hurt the story? Because it makes the Buu arc make no sense. Thus, the events of Majin Buu slaughtering the Kaioshins should have been prevented, because if the Supreme Kais are that important, and especially important for the survival of Beerus, then it's the Gods of Destruction's duty to protect them from harm, as his life depends on it. And yes guys, I can already hear you typing on your keyboards, I already know what you're going to say, and I already agree. Beerus was probably asleep, and Majin Buu's arrival probably took the Kaioshins by surprise. But that is a very horrible and terrible way to retcon a story, and I stress on the term retcon because, as we initially learned, Beerus never cared to stop Frieza or Buu before, because none of them really threatened him in any way, so there was no incentive for him to interfere with those events. So dropping this piece of information kinda hinders the integrity of the story. It does not improve the story in any sort of way. And I think I know why those geniuses at Toei included this link. They simply wanted to justify why Beerus was dead in the future and why he didn't do anything to stop Black from wreaking havoc across the universe. But then again, in the manga of DPS, which I'm simply referencing as a secondary source, Whis asks Trunks why the God of Destruction didn't interfere against Black, and then we immediately learn that the death of a Supreme Kai causes the death of Beerus, which is a problem because Whis implies that Beerus should have interfered. You know, I don't have a problem with killing off Beerus. In fact, I really want to see a villain that is actually too much for any god to stop. I preferred the original series where it was only up to Goku and the gang as a last resort to save the world. And I don't mind killing off Beerus, but the way they did it is unbelievably cheap and quite lazy to say the least. What's that? What a big surprise, Dragon Ball Super is being cheap and lazy? Well, if you want to kill Beerus, then please kill him in an actual battle against an actual threatening villain. Guys, don't misunderstand me. I can forgive the series for its less than average animation and for its questionable character design. But once Dragon Ball Super starts changing things that were already pre-established just to make the excuse that Beerus was killed in the future due to the Supreme Kai's death, then that's where it starts to be a problem. This is not the first time that something like this happens. They did that before by completely changing the lore of Dragon Ball Z by making Beerus the one who orders Frieza to kill the Saiyan race. So yeah, the whole reason behind Frieza being afraid of the Saiyans and killing Bardock became directly linked to Beerus, or at least influenced by Beerus, which again, honestly does not enhance the story, it's just stupid. Thus, there are correct ways to expand the lore of Dragon Ball franchise, and then there are ways that are just distracting.
An interesting story.
Though I'll say this, I hope they did not include this information only to justify the death of Beerus in the future Trunks timeline, and I hope there is something more to it, like a setup for a future event. But overall, what do you guys think? Am I simply crazy or being unreasonable? I mean, I could be wrong, I'm simply expressing my opinion on this matter. So tell me your initial reaction to this info. Do you guys think it was necessary to give us that detail? I think I would have been a happier camper if they didn't. But all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed this video in some way or another. And if you did, please leave a like, it helps me a lot, and subscribe if you haven't, and most importantly, have a good day.